Today we're looking at 7 of the dorkiest motorcycles that we've ever been subjected to. Now don't worry, we're not going to be looking at any Versys 650s or CBR 500Rs. That's just a little too easy of a target, and we've already talked about what a dork fest those bikes are. So producer Logan has cooked up some more esoteric options for us, right?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to get a little weird with it, get a little bit deep in the trenches of the motorcycle underworld. Some bikes that are maybe lost to time, but when you look a little closely, you're like, man, I wish I didn't know this bike existed.
What were some of your criteria for coming up with these dorky bikes?
So for dorky bikes, for me, it's, obviously underwhelming performance, but maybe more importantly is kind of that misguided marketing. Anything aiming to be youth conscious, youth oriented, suburban, accessible, all just kind of lend themselves to a dorky experience.
Yeah, so maybe it's like trying a little too hard and maybe it just like ultimately misses the mark a little bit. Let's see what the first bike on the list is. We have the NM4 Vultus. Actually, that's a good one. Yeah, if you guys don't know, the NM4 was this like Batmobile-esque bike, but maybe like maybe Batman's like, sort of less capable cousin or something like that.
Sure, yeah, maybe like his sidekick.
Yeah, maybe Robin would ride around in this thing. The NM4, it's pretty misunderstood, I think. What were they trying to do with this bike?
So as I mentioned, the NM4 is targeted towards an urban youth demographic. And anytime a motorcycle manufacturer makes a bike with that in mind, it ends up being pretty dorky. Think, the BMW Scarver, for instance.
The Scarver is pretty legendarily dorky. Why does it feel to me that the NM4 was like an anime weeb decided to like enter a contest, and then Honda, as part of like their Make-A-Wish program, had to honor their wishes? Why does it feel like that?
I think it's because, we got this kind of sci-fi design, but it's like, the proportions are off, you know what I mean? Like it looks like it was made by an amateur designer or like you kept hitting regenerate on the AI image creator.
Yeah, it just keeps coming out with new versions. And the word Vultus too, it's like some new character in the Morbius film or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like using like, a super villain type name for this badass cruiser. That's like really a glorified scooter at this point. Yeah, 745cc parallel twin, DCT transmission, like, about as pedestrian as it gets.
Yeah, so like if it was called the Vultus and had like 300 horsepower, awesome. If it looked like that and was super fast, great. But because it's, basically a little scooter pretty much, it ends up being a little bit dorky.
Yep, it's got this like sci-fi bike from like a straight to DVD remake of like an 80s action movie.
Yeah. So NM4 Vultus, the first on the list today, pretty dorky. Let's look at number 2. We have the DN01, another Honda. Logan, that's kind of okay. So 2 Hondas, but the DN01 is like pretty brutal.
Yeah. You know what DN01 stands for?
What's it stand for?
Do not order one. You can thank the boomers on the forums for that joke.
So the DN01 to me and the NM4 Vultus, honestly, there's a lot of times where like I get the two mixed up because they're so similar. What is the DN01? Tell me.
So the DN01 is another, kind of futuristic, kind of jack of all trades type of bike. It's a kind of a cruiser, kind of a sporty looking bike, kind of a scooter. And essentially when it comes together, it looks like a jet ski with wheels. It's a very odd motorcycle.
So similar to the Vultus, I assume, like DCT or no transmission.
CVT. Even better.
Wow, CVT.
Twist and go, baby.
Twist and go. And what, parallel twin?
Actually, a V-twin.
Okay.
But, not exactly raucous or characterful, pretty pedestrian.
Did they lift it from like a metric cruiser or something?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, Honda is no stranger to metric cruisers. And leave it to Honda to make a V-twin kind of boring and kind of lame, but they knocked it out of the park with the DN01.
Pairing a V-twin to a CVT feels just like awful. Like that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's kind of definitely a crime against humanity. The DN01, in short, it's like a Frankenstein experiment of combining a bunch of different things. It's kind of like wearing, a leather jacket, overalls, and Crocs to your wedding.
I assume that's what you wore to your wedding, Logan.
Yes, you got me.
All right, moving on. The third dorky bike on the list for today, if this magnet would cooperate with me over here, we have the CTX 700. The third Honda on the list, Logan, damn. But I have to agree, the CTX 700 it's pretty dorky.
Yeah, the CTX 700 is one of those bikes that you can make fun of it all you want, and people don't get offended because they literally don't even know what that bike is. It's just a random combination of letters and numbers. It doesn't even really evoke I wrote this script like 2 days ago, and it's struggling to remember what this bike looks like. You know
actually,
what I mean?
Pre-production, I actually had Logan pull up a photo of it because I also could not remember what it looked like, and then I wish I hadn't seen it when you showed it to
Yeah,
me.
because essentially, similar thing, weird combination of a cruiser and a sport bike, doesn't really know what it's trying to be, failing at everything. You know, I think people say they're reliable, they're pedestrian. Again, if you want a bike to just get around town, I think it's sort of like a spiritual successor or precursor to like the NC750.
I think one thing that's interesting about these bikes is they are so far beyond the pale of what a dorky bike is that I would take a Versys 650 over any of these.
Yeah, and that's saying something.
That's really, because like at least the Versys 650 is like a real bike with a transmission and a clutch, and like it'll do the thing. It's a little boring, but it'll do the thing. The CTX 700 and the DN01 and the Vultus, I'm like, man, like I don't know if I could really rock one of those.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and so the CTX 700 manual transmission, kind of sweet.
Okay.
But again, sleepy parallel twin. Get this. So this 670cc parallel twin redlines at, drumroll please, 6,500 RPM.
Oh, it's a Harley.
It's a little bit better than a Harley, but it's still pushing like lawnmower or portable generator numbers.
Yeah, so 180-degree crank, redlining at 6,500 RPM, making like 45 horsepower or something tops, right?
Yeah.
And it's not, again, guys, it's not to say that outright power is the best thing ever. You need as much power as possible. But it's about the character and quality of that power, right? Like a 180-degree crank, 650-ish cc parallel twin making 45 horsepower that redlines at 6,500, you said?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like lawnmower.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, it's not terribly atrocious by any means, but painfully boring, super pedestrian, super average. The design is bizarre. It's got that stubby little windscreen.
Yeah, the design I think is really the dorkiest part about this bike to me because it doesn't know what it wants to be, and it's like kind of a cruiser, kind of a sport bike. Like the proportions are all strange. And the other thing, I'm seeing this theme here of like mid 2000s, right? Like, do you think that this is from an era where like we just didn't have the mass proliferation of culture immediately through short form content, such that you could have these pockets of like people making like genuinely like strange and stupid ideas come to life.
Right.
Like this could never happen today.
Yeah, I mean,
know what
I think today, we'll get a little, heady with it. We'll try to reel it in a little bit because, you and I can kind of go off topic easily. But
what the podcast
what
is
I'm thinking too, like with short form content and like manufacturers have so much access, immediate access to thousands and thousands and thousands of case studies of what youth culture actually is.
Yeah.
When with these bikes, Honda trying to make a bike that's youth oriented in the 2000s, it's like they're just making bikes based off like a rumor of what they heard somebody's nephew was doing. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have access to like what youth culture is like or what young people like in the here and now.
Doesn't it almost feel like it was like a boardroom meeting and it was like a bunch of 15, 60-year-old guys and then like, one of them was like, oh, my 12-year-old nephew likes stuff like this. And like, let's make a bike around that,
Yeah, exactly.
And it's also like, there's also the unfortunate element of like Japanese culture sometimes does not translate across the pond.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes it's kind of funny or cool where like, you end up with names like the Fireblade because it was like a mistranslation of something. But other times it can end up with stuff like the NM4 where it's like a weird anime bike that is just not gonna work in the American market. I think though, if you were to re-release the NM4, perhaps it would work in today's market with the proliferation of weebs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And culture's cyclical, look at all the people walking around wearing Jinko jeans. Like, that's insane. As someone who lived through Jinko jeans the first time, the fact that people are wearing those, but it gives me hope for the Vultus to maybe have a comeback.
Yeah, I agree. The fact that Jinko jeans are back and low-rise jeans too. That really caught me by surprise the other day. But anyways, culture aside, Logan, let's move on to number 4 on the list for today. We have the Pacific Coast.
Yeah.
The 4th Honda on the list. I'm starting to get a little skeptical about this list.
Yeah, Honda, say what you will, it's kind of a flex that they can make all these, these super, super dorky motorcycles that are kind of commercial flops, and then they just keep doing it. They just keep going back to the drawing board. They're like, this time we're gonna knock it out of the
This time it's gonna work. I don't know much about the Pacific Coast, so what was this?
So the Pacific Coast, like now we're bordering to the part of the list where the bikes are super dorky, but almost kind of sick. You know what I mean? Like the Pacific Coast is the one that's like fully encased in fairings, like the entire engine's covered up, like it looks almost like a minivan. It's like a Goldwing and a minivan had a baby, if you can picture that.
And that's cool.
That's cool. It's cool in like an ironic way. You know what I mean? Like,
so what does it do that a Goldwing doesn't do, or what does it do that a minivan does? Like how is it a minivan
so
and a Goldwing
the
smushed
Pacific
together?
Coast was very much targeted to like suburban non-riders. Like that's what was marketed like as a car, you know, and all this stuff was like when you drive a Pacific Coast, like they're not saying when you ride it, they're saying when you drive it.
Oh, wow.
Essentially, they used the marketing strategy that Tupperware used in the 50s and 60s to skyrocket the success of that, and then just applied it to a motorcycle. All the way down to the plastics. Am I right?
Does it not feel like Honda has been trying to replicate the NICE campaign over and over and over again for like decades? You know, I think they just nailed it with the scooters in the 60s, and they were like, this was incredible. And I think they've just tried literally every decade to recapture the magic.
Right.
Because I think it was such a success.
Right.
Like the Pacific Coast to me, from everything you just said, feels like a new like NICE campaign. Like we're gonna get them this time. We're gonna get them this time. And it's like that was like a lightning in a bottle moment. I don't think they can recapture it.
Yeah, essentially. And I think what makes the Pacific Coast cool, ironically cool, dorky versus, you know, something like the Vultus or the DN01 is it's in Honda's lane. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like making a dorky motorcycle that's catered to housewives and shit is very Honda.
Yes.
So while it is dorky, it's in their lane. It doesn't feel cringe or embarrassing.
Yeah.
But it is still dorky nonetheless.
It's because, it's like it's softer and it's nicer and it's designed to be like a friendly thing. I think by its nature, if your bike is not like some fire-breathing monster and it's friendly, it lessens that dorky quality because it knows what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's why a Vespa can't be dorky because it's just like a nice, round, cute little scooter thing, you know? Like it can't be dorky.
Yeah,
but the Vultus, I don't know, I keep coming back to it because it just like, it is number one on the list.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so aggressive and it's so like angular, but it doesn't do anything, right? Like that's the mismatch.
Completely. You know, something like a Pacific Coast or a Vespa, like it's making no claims to be something it's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I got two wheels, you can ride me. I got a trunk. Weather stripped trunk.
Logan, buy me dinner first, right? Jesus Christ. All right, number 5 on the list. I'm starting to get really suspect of this list. It's the 5th Honda in a row, a Honda Helix. I personally disagree. I don't think the Helix is dorky, but make your case. Why is the Helix a dork bike?
So again, it's dorky, but it's cool. It's bordering on like not even being ironically cool anymore, but it's dorky in the best way possible, and I think it's pretty sweet. Again, if anything, it doesn't fit on the list because it's a scooter, you know, versus a motorcycle, but it's a big scooter, big boy. And I think with its willingness to take on all types of riding, you know, its willingness to shuffle around, you know, senior citizens in the retirement community in, you know, Clearwater, Florida, I think it's earned the merit of being called a motorcycle. So yeah, the Honda, you've ridden the Helix, right?
I have, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and I think it's been one of those bikes that the design of it over time has aged in a cool way.
Yeah.
Like when you see it parked, it's got this insane triangular like front face to it and the trunk and everything. And it ends up just, being like such a cool time capsule. Mm-hmm. And I think that elevates it beyond the dorky status because it starts feeling like a time capsule. It starts evoking feelings of a bygone era.
Yeah.
You know?
And because there's something about a motorcycle made in the 80s that's meant to look futuristic that
sick.
Now that we live in the future, and it doesn't quite connect, but it has this, kind of timeless, cool aura to it.
I love anything like retro future. I think it's so interesting. Like if you look at the architecture from like the 60s and 70s of like the cutting edge stuff of what they thought the future was going to be, it's almost quaint and funny because it's totally different than it is now. You know?
Like, it's like almost, it's like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. Like there's a really cool building in Japan. It's like this like super futuristic political building. And it looks like a set for like Blade Runner. It's amazing. But you're like, oh, that's cute that you thought that like the world politics would be such that it'd be like some sort of spacefaring like society. And it's just like the nonsense that we have today.
Yeah.
You know, the reality crazy show that we have.
Yeah. And so I think the Helix kind of, fits into that vibe. And it's got like the digital dash. And if you remember like the original ad campaign, I'm sure you've seen it, where it's very like sci-fi, cyberpunk, whatever, to sell a scooter. And I think that's sick. And it was like deliberately targeted towards older people, like middle-aged and older people that wanted a scooter with a little bit more heft. You know, it could carry some groceries, carry your old lady on the back, and still go 60 miles an hour, give or take.
Yeah.
But with the ease of use of a scooter.
The Helix is faster than a Grom. I mean, I got it up to highway speeds when I tested it.
Is it as easy to wheelie as a Grom?
It is not. No. is not.
Maybe we should get one and try it out.
Number 6 on the list today of the dorkiest bikes known to man, the Motocompo. Logan, this is getting ridiculous now. It's been all Hondas. Are these all just Hondas?
I mean, we'll have to wait to see.
We'll have to wait to see. Okay, Motocompo. Now, this is a bike I like, you know, and it's really stretching the definition of motorcycle.
Oh, completely.
It's like a foldable scooter thing, basically, you know?
Yeah. So for the folks at home, if you don't know, first off, just search Yami Noob Motocompo review. Hilarious video. But essentially, it was a kind of a briefcase-sized machine, foldable handlebars that was meant to live in the trunk of like Japanese businessmen, and so you could ride into the city, park in a parking deck or a parking lot, and then take your little 2-stroke briefcase scooter into the office.
Yeah, very optimized for a certain use case. Super interesting. Yeah, so it like lived in the back of the Civics. They would take the Civic to the office, like commute by the highway. And then in Tokyo or whatever big Japanese city, it's very dense, and they're like, okay, we need something even smaller. And it's like this sort of Fabergé egg of like automotive creation. It's really, I think it's hilarious. And the fact that it is literally no bigger than about like, it's so small. It is so small. And the engineering behind like the folding qualities of it, it kind of feels like a toy that you'd buy as a kid.
Yeah, like it almost has like a Lego vibe, or like, like you could buy it like at IKEA, or something like that.
For sure. Yeah. So, I don't know, to me it's not even dorky. I just think the Motocompo is just straight up cool. I think we've gone full circle. Like, I think at some point you go so dorky that it just comes right back, right?
I mean, you could argue that, but I'm gonna still say it's dorky. It looks like, if you squint, it looks like one of those like food delivery robots.
A little bit, yeah.
So
sort of.
So kind of dorky.
Yeah.
And so the internet claims a top speed of 30 miles an hour.
That is not true.
Yeah.
I tested the Motocompo. Man, to get it to 30 is very ambitious. I think I saw maybe 18 miles an hour. I could probably ride a bicycle faster than a Motocompo.
Certainly, yeah.
It's not a vehicle that you'd want to use on American roads.
Yeah, and those little tiny wheels. Like
the whole thing just shakes apart. It's a novelty bike for sure.
And so again, to classify this as a motorcycle, it's got an engine, 2-stroke too.
Yeah, 2-stroke, 2 wheels.
Pretty cool.
It's a motorcycle.
But pretty dorky.
All right, last on the list for today. Let's see if you can redeem yourself after all of this Honda slander. I can't disagree. I can't disagree with the Fury, but it's making me realize that Honda's made some like really wacky, dorky stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
They may be the most Japanese of Japanese manufacturers, to be honest.
Yeah, just sort of like a misjudgment of like American culture.
So deeply. So tell us about the Fury.
So the Fury, it's Honda's factory chopper. In the 2000s, factory choppers, or just custom choppers, and then factory choppers were all the rage.
This is a zeitgeist.
Yeah, you had Orange County choppers, West Coast choppers, Boss Haas, Big Dog, all, combined two words, it's like a Mad Lib, like an adjective and then like a noun, and you have a factory chopper company.
Yeah.
And custom choppers are actually kind of sick. Not my cup of tea, but you got to respect, the time and effort and kind of creativity that goes into making something like that. But at the end of the day, pain in the butt to ride, not really safe, usually no front brakes, super raked out front fork, big wheel, kind of just crazy. They're showpieces. They're meant for going a couple miles to the meetup, show off your build. And so a factory chopper in itself is sort of an oxymoron, right? And then a factory chopper from Honda skyrockets that to dork levels, right? Like EPA compliant chopper from Honda with a factory warranty is like absolutely insane.
Those words all together just don't even sit right with me. And I agree with you, like, because you didn't build the chopper, why would you purchase a chopper that's like ready to go? It's like that defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, it's very, suburban dad, midlife crisis, wanting to be cool. Gets the Fury. Yeah, it's like if you went to like a punk show that was put on by State Farm Insurance or something. It's just it makes no sense. You have to like have this insane cognitive dissonance.
This mosh pit brought to you by Farmers Insurance. Yeah, it's like that's really weird.
Right.
So all of these are Hondas, all of them relatively dorky, but at the end of the day, no one is immune from the dork qualities as well. I think, Logan, you could make the case that some of the bikes, even in my personal stable, are pretty dorky. I mean, the Tuareg's kind of a dork machine. It's like super dad bike energy. I think the Scrambler, definitely kind of dorky just because like similar to the chopper, like I didn't build it, I didn't set it up. Like it's got some cool stories, but
Yeah, I guess you could say the same. And I'm rocking the Honda Transalp,
That's rough.
The dorkiest middleweight ADV on the market. Disappointment, 37 years in the making. So no one's immune to this. I don't think I'm cooler than the next rider out there. If you own a Vultus, I deeply feel sorry for you. But I'm sure you're a nice guy or gal.
Yeah, I'm sure you got some redeeming qualities, but your motorcycle certainly is not one of them.
Whereas if you designed the Vultus, I don't respect or trust you. But if you just own one, that's fine.
I think if you designed the Vultus, you maybe should bear witness at the Nuremberg trial.
Yikes. Heard it here first.
You know, it's a crime against humanity.
You never know. And ironically, again, we go off topic too easily, but a lot of the most bizarre, dorky, failed bikes, even outside of Honda's, were designed by like esteemed designers in other industries that just had no idea of like how to make a motorcycle cool, you know?
Yeah, maybe Honda is immune from that because I don't think they hired like, you know, some awesome guy.
No, it's just some guy with
the sauce thing. Or whatever,
it's just a guy with a lab coat.
Yeah.
And
he was like, this will be sick.
Yeah, it's like quantifying like, okay, how much rumble does this engine need to make the Fury cool? How like unsafe can we make it feeling while it still actually is safe?
Yeah.
It's like the meme, the guy with the 2 test tubes.
Yeah.
It's like, finally, Honda chopper or whatever.
Yeah. So if you made it to the end of the video, that means you're not a dork. You're a cool guy and you watched all the way through a Yami Noob video. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. And of course, because it's a list video, I do have a fact for you. Fact! Music can influence taste. Research shows that high-pitched music can make food seem sweeter, while low tones can make it taste more bitter. Goodbye. Wake up! You're dreaming! You're dreaming! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! None of this is real! None of it's real! None of it's real! Wake up! Keep watching Yami Noob.